Hey everyone, it is Burnt Bricks here, and today I'll be reviewing the 8019 Republic Attack Shuttle set from 2008. This set originally retailed for $60, and I am so happy to own it. This set was always one of my favorites. It was one of my favorite vehicles from the Clone Wars, probably second only to the Republic Gunship set. It appeared in a numerous amount of episodes. It appeared at least a couple times every season. A couple of its more notable uses were Ahsoka Tano's delivery in the Clone Wars movie. We saw it fly Rex and Cody to the Rishi base in the start of the Domino Squad arc, and it's a really iconic ship from the Clone Wars. You probably haven't seen it if you didn't watch that, as that's really the only time it appeared in any Star Wars media. And for those of you who are unknown to the Clone Wars, like you've never seen it, and about to say, oh, weren't they seen in the original trilogy, used in the Return of the Jedi to get aboard the Death Star? Similar ship, different ship. That one had a more pointy face, where this one had a more blocked off face, and it also didn't have a missile battery in the back, as well as it also had a complete fin back here. Now, let's get into the actual review. As usual, we will be starting out with the minifigs. First figure I will be showcasing is Mace Windu. He's pretty good for 2008, but looking at him, he really seems kind of poor compared to the more recent Mace Windu figure from the General Grievous Speeder. If you look at him, they have all the same colors as far as that goes. Reddish brown hands, reddish brown head, and the dark tan robes and legs. However, this Mace Windu figure right here, this one, has printing on his legs and on the back of the figure, whereas this one only has printing on the front of the torso and the head. This one also has printing on the head, if you couldn't tell. And obviously they share the purple lightsaber, as Mace Windu is, I believe, the only canon Jedi with a purple lightsaber, though I'm most likely wrong. Next up, we have a clone pilot. Again, it's from 2008, so I can excuse some of the poor printing choices on it. The leg printing really wasn't regularized until about 2015, so this was like 7 years before that, so I can understand why it doesn't have that. As the respirator on its chest is a pilot, it would have to withstand high altitudes more often than, say, a standard Phase 1 trooper. It has the yellow markings and red Republic insignias to show it is a pilot. And it has the standard clone back printing, which you'll see again on the other clone. This is obviously just a standard Phase 1 trooper. I believe this is the easiest to get clone out there. There's 3 of them in a battle pack that costed $10, so $30 would get you 9 of these guys. $100 would get you, I'm not doing the math right now because I'm lazy and tired of these guys. It has the same back printing as the pilot. The only real difference is the respirator on the chest and the markings on the helmet. And personally, I really prefer the newer 2013/2018 with printed legs clones. It's a lot better. LEGO kind of took the Clone Wars animation style and ran with it with these figures, with the gigantic eyes and the way too curvy clone armor. It's really, like, overdone and kind of dramatic for my tastes, especially as far as the LEGO set goes. And I really would have liked it if they kind of just upgraded the printing they had from 2002 and 2005, because that's what they did in the Clone Wars video game. I'm not even kidding. If you go back and look at screenshots from the Clone Wars game, they have this helmet on the Phase 2 trooper body from 2005 wave of Revenge of the Sith sets. And they also gave the figures normal eyes. I think LEGO knew what they did wrong, yet they continued making that mistake with Clone Wars figures up into the early 2010s when the Clone Wars was shut down. And I'm hoping, with the reboot of Clone Wars, they do not do that to the figures. They do not make them look too overly animated, and they do not give them the giant eyes. That is, if LEGO even makes Clone Wars save sets. So, let's get into the review of the actual shuttle now, shall we? I believe this is the biggest set I've reviewed on my channel so far. Features-wise, what I mean by that is that it has a lot more features than the AT-AP, or obviously the Duel on Naboo, or the Republic fighter tank, because, well, it's a 2008 set. They cram so many features into this thing, it's not even funny. That's a battery warning. Let's just get back to the review here. every ship could do something from that era. If it didn't have a gimmick, it wasn't from that era. Let's put it like that. But now I'll showcase some of the exterior features before showing you some of the play features. And if you wanted to put clones inside here, or whatever minifig you wanted in here, you could just get him in the sitting position, plop him in. They have the blue seat pieces, the blue chairs. This was before the era of clamping figures in just by their legs on one set of studs. They had seats in almost everything. So that opens up for easy access to put whatever figures you want in there. It does have 2 seats, just like in the show. However, in the show, it was way, way, way bigger. Big enough for a group of minifigures to be able to step in out of this end here. If you're looking, it could step out of here. I don't think he could fit. It does have the ability to look straight out like that, but that looks very stupid, and often gravity will just decide, hey, this thing's gonna fall anyway. As far as the wings go, it doesn't just fly around like this. The wings open up like so, kind of exactly like you'll see in the show. And as far as landing gear goes, it has these white crutch pieces, I'll call them, on the bottom. And they're okay. It looks way better with them off of it, but it also can't really like stay up without them on it. So it's a trade-off, looks over functionality. It's really just up to you. And if you want to access the rear here, you have to click those things open here, lift it up, and then boom, you have access to the interior. This here is used for storing weapons. The clones, blasters would go here and here, and it's recommended you put Mace Windu's lightsaber in one of these clips here. Here. I hit my desk, okay. If you draw your attention down here, you can see the bombing bay. I will show you that in more depth on the outside later, because this is really just a loading function. If you drop bombs, you would put them in like, you'd take them, say you drop them, you put them in like this, put that there, done. The bombs are loaded, you can move on. Now let's get on to the actual features of the set. If I could get this thing closed again. Thank you very much. Now, let's fold up the wings and I can actually show you some of the cool stuff. If you look on the back here, it has this lever right here. Well, more of a button than a lever, but it works. If I fold that out and look here, I will adjust the camera again so you can get a half-decent view. You may see the magazine of missiles here. You put that in here, in between 2 little blue Technic rods that you can see from the top, and you push on this hard enough, it'll launch the flick fire missiles. It's a really effective mechanism, and since this is an older set, it does jam a little bit, but it works so well. And they even thought of the, oh, how will the kid get the white Technic thing that all the flick fire missiles were in to reload them? The answer is, lift up the set. This falls out of the bottom. There's a hole in the bottom. This thing goes all the way up and through. As you can see, if I push it up through there, you can see it coming out of the top again. Once it is empty, it'll fall through. You reload the missiles, rinse, repeat. Now, for the bombing function I mentioned earlier. These things on the back are so well hidden. This is kind of before the era of, if it had a feature, it was bright red and super obvious and didn't look anything like the ship. While we're back here, just look at these thrusters. They're pretty good looking. I really like the shape of those, but anyway, pull on one of these, or rather push on it. If you push on it towards the thrusters, or inwards from the thrusters, it'll drop the bombs. And then you push them back to normal to reload the second pair of bombs. There it goes. Sometimes it gets jammed. Again, it's older. If you find this thing in new condition, good for you, but it'll most likely be very expensive. As a $60 set with, I don't know, what is it now? About, 11 years of inflation, as well as 11 years of value going up, because LEGO sets are apparently more valuable than gold at sometimes. It's a good deal for a set back in the day, but now I dare you to try and find this thing for new for under $100. Good luck with that one, buddy. But that's pretty much it for my review on the set. It looks really good. The only inconsistency is kind of this yellow. In the show, it would go back under the wings, but I get why they did that. Stability over looks is kind of LEGO's thing sometimes, or rather detail over looks is now their thing, but yeah, it still works. It looks good as long as you don't think about it too hard. Now, one problem I do have with this is the scaling. It's kind of hard to use in mocks because if you wanted to be accurate with your mocks, you would need a custom UCS model, as good lord is this thing not size accurate. This thing, like I said before, this little area down here is supposed to have a door that opens up to let out people. This boy does not fit in there. And it's supposed to have 4 people in there. It fit the entire Delta Squad, and those boys are bulky. If you saw the Clone Wars, you'll get what I mean. But anyway, the scaling kind of doesn't work, but it's a really good-looking set for the time, especially. And for the time, it was amazingly packed with features. It has more features than most of today's sets because back in my day, they had to get inventive. But that's just me. I personally preferred flick fire missiles and the bomb dropping functions over spring-loaded shooters and stud shooters, because at least these could be integrated into a build and look good. And the blasters look better anyway. I would rather imagine shooting a blaster than actually having the functionality to shoot a blaster and not using it because I don't want to lose the pieces. I've gone off on a rant. I will talk about that in another video. Let's get into the final segment. Alright everyone, we have reached the end of my review. Now it's time to go over minifigs, functionality, and playability. Minifigs on the set, an 8. I really like the old Phase 1 Standard and the old Phase 1 Pilot. However, they are overshadowed a lot by the newer ones. However, for their time, amazing figures. Mace Windu really does bring it down with only having front torso printing and head printing, because that was like such a downgrade for most figures. Most Jedi figures, even at that time, had back printing, because if they didn't, they would look bad. Whereas Mace Windu looks bad. Whereas the clones, it would probably be a 10 out of 10 if it was just the clone troopers. But Mace Windu does drag it down a bit. Functionality is 10 out of 10. Honestly, with all the functions included in the set, the ability to fold and open the wings, the landing gear, the cockpit, and the bomb dropping and missile mechanisms, it's perfect, honestly. And playability, the set falls apart if you hold it too hard in some areas, so I'd give the playability a 5 out of 5. 2008 sets were kind of flimsy, I'm gonna say it, but that doesn't mean they weren't fun to play with. A lot of them had their issues, but other than that, I would say it's really good. It's a really good set. Overall, it's one of my favorite vehicles from the Clone Wars, as I mentioned in my opening. So I'm just happy to have been able to review it and just own it, period. If you like this video, leave a like. If you really like this video, consider subscribing for more of my content. I'm not going to call it great content, but it's content. If you like it, please stick around. Now, I just want to say again, thank you for loving all of my videos. If you do love them, especially, like, I believe it was a couple videos ago now that I uploaded my Duel and Naboo sets, and a lot of people came to check it out. And thank you for checking it out. I will be uploading more frequently now because school's coming to an end, so I will be able to get more sets and do more reviews. And hey, maybe I'll even do a tutorial on how to make some custom clone troopers. If you would like that, please leave it in the comments. I'll see ya. Bye. And have a nice day.